Every game begins the same way.
Hello, Birdland. Before we dive deep into this exclusive analysis that is going to stir the emotions of all of us who live and breathe orange and black, I need you to do something fundamental for the growth of our community. Click that subscribe button right now, hit the notification bell, and join Orioles Fan Central. Your subscription is the fuel that keeps this channel operating with behind-the-scenes information and high-level analysis done great. Let's get down to business. We are facing a critical moment this off-season, a true inflection point that could define the hierarchy of the American League East for years to come. My sources and in-depth analysis indicate that we are witnessing the beginning of a fierce arms race for Kyle Tucker, and the battle is not just about talent, but about financial strategy and boldness. Kyle Tucker's status as a free agent has quickly transformed into the most important power test in our division. We are talking about a player who, despite recent medical concerns, remains the best hitter available on the open market. The Toronto Blue Jays, the New York Yankees, and of course our Baltimore Orioles have legitimate reasons and distinct pressure points to make a serious run for this four-time All-Star. To contextualize the magnitude of this dispute, we need to look at the numbers and the risk. Tucker boasts a career OPS plus of 140, which is an elite indicator, along with impeccable swing decisions and a lefty bat that fits into any competitive lineup aiming for the commissioner's trophy. However, the question looming in GM offices is whether teams will feel comfortable paying full value after 2 seasons marked by frustrating injuries. Tucker played only 78 games in 2024 due to a tibia fracture and ended 2025 on the injured list with a calf strain, but incredibly, even with limited time, he managed 22 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and a .41 OPS in 136 combined games. This demonstrates a production ceiling that few athletes possess. Looking at our rivals, Toronto is the obvious choice to spend as they enter the offseason in an all-or-nothing position after reaching the World Series. With the situation of Bo Bichette as a pending free agent, they need to decide whether to renew or invest in another star. Their payroll for 2026 is already projected between $225 and $235 million, which leaves room but not unlimited flexibility, making a massive contract for Tucker a calculated financial risk. On the other hand, we have the Yankees, who continue to appear in rumors, but whose financial reality tells a different story and perhaps a less threatening one than the New York media would like to admit. The projected payroll for the Bronx for 2026, considering the competitive balance tax CBT, is already close to an insane $280 million. The club's front office has categorically stated that surpassing the $300 million barrier is unsustainable. My read, based on what I hear behind the scenes, is that New York's real focus is renewing with Cody Bellinger after his great 2025 season. Letting their names circulate in the Tucker sweepstakes might simply be a leverage tactic to pressure the Blue Jays, Dodgers, or Phillies, forcing them to spend more, while the Yankees secure their preferred target. This creates a chaotic scenario where bluffing and real necessity mix, and it is exactly in this vacuum of the rival uncertainty that the Baltimore Orioles can find their greatest opportunity in decades. Now, let's focus on what really matters to us, O's fans. The narrative changes drastically when we look at our own house. Baltimore's finances are, to say the least, in a blank slate situation that is the envy of any general manager wishing to build an empire. With the painful and impactful departure of Grayson Rodriguez, the urgency to sign a star-level hitter and reconfigure the rotation has increased exponentially. We cannot ignore that losing Rodriguez leaves a hole, but it also opens the front office's eyes to the need for immediate action. The Orioles' payroll for 2026 barely reaches $30 million. Let me repeat that. So the magnitude of the situation is clear, 30 million. This gives us unrivaled flexibility, superior to any other team in the race, to pursue not only Kyle Tucker, but also an elite starting pitcher simultaneously. We are not talking about choosing one or the other. We are talking about the mathematical capacity to do both if the political will exists. Question here ceases to be financial and becomes purely philosophical. Is the Orioles ownership finally ready to spend like a big market team and a perennial title contender? Sources linked to the league believe that Baltimore can be a decisive factor and, I dare say, the most logical destination if they finally decide to open the coffers. Kyle Tucker would bring that profile of a lefty power hitter that balances our lineup, offering protection for Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman, creating a nightmare for opposing right-handed pitchers. Imagine the impact of adding a 140 OPS plus in the middle of our batting order. This would transform the offensive dynamic from hopeful to scary. However, we need to be realistic about the risks. Tucker's tibia and calf injuries are concerning, and any long-term contract will carry that red flag, but in an inflated market, perfection is rare and expensive. Sometimes the winning move is the one that involves betting on the recovery of a generational talent. Rodriguez's departure hurts, but the salary cap space we have is a weapon that, if not used now, will be an unforgivable waste of a championship window. Analyzing coldly signing Tucker would be a declaration of war on the AL East. While Toronto stretches itself financially and the Yankees fight against their own salary cap restrictions, the Orioles have a clear path and an empty checkbook. My final analysis is that, despite the injury history, Tucker's production ceiling justifies the investment, especially considering that our payroll allows us to absorb this risk without paralyzing the franchise in the future. Now, I want to know your opinion, Birdland fan. Looking at the medical risks versus the elite talent, do you believe the Orioles should go all in for Kyle Tucker and take advantage of this historic financial flexibility, or should we focus on multiple lower-profile players to fill the gap left by Grayson Rodriguez and others? This is the decision that defines eras. Leave your comment below. I want to generate a serious and qualified debate. And don't forget, if you want quick updates, deep tactical analysis, and the most passionate coverage of the O's, subscribe to the channel now and share this video with another fan. Let's make some noise, Birdland.